You know, you don't think I'm a turkey? Go for it, dude. Hey folks, good morning. Gotta get the mill ready, get cranking. Did some milling yesterday. Got about 800 board feet done, just in a few hours. Now it's time to really get cranking. So, let me get to it. All right, while I get the mill fired up and get ready to get going on this job, I thought I would tell you about a little bit of a mix-up I had coming out here. You know, I was working a day job, and this customer had reached out to me, and I was just gearing back up the sawmill business. It had been kind of running part-time, off and on, for a couple years after an injury and just some things going on. Day job taking up too much of my time, that kind of stuff. So I was gearing up the business, and I'll tell you, not every job works out the way you think it's going to. And you know, sometimes you just got to realize that you got to be better organized, and this is one of those cases. The customer had reached out to me in about February sometime, and we had made plans to mill in the middle of May. And I'd set in my calendar that I had just started using milling tentative Spokane or North Spokane, something like that. And then I had been really busy working on some other things, leaving my job, really cranking the business up and getting it going and putting out more videos for you. And I had another customer reach out to me not long after this customer, also looking for milling in the middle of May. And we ended up communicating back and forth, and for a while I was actually communicating with both customers, and then it kind of goes quiet a bit, and that's normal. You know, if you're booking jobs well into the future like I do, just as a necessity, you know, trying to fit everybody in when they want to get milling, then sometimes you get real busy, and you might be communicating with one customer and you might think you're communicating with another one, and that actually happened in this case. And it's pretty rare, but it does happen. And in this case, the second customer had asked me if we'd be good to go for milling in the middle of May, and I looked at my calendar and I saw tentative milling this weekend in May, and so I said, yeah, actually I got you on the schedule, and we'll get her going. Well, the funny thing is, I'd actually put that on the schedule for the first customer and had not put his name down. And that's something that I always do now, but I had just kind of slipped in that case and hadn't put it down. So I went ahead and said, yeah, I'll do it. And as the time was getting a bit closer, I was asking for cut lists. And the customer, who's actually up in North Idaho, sent me something, and it was actually a drawing of what he was thinking we would do. And so I reached out to him, and I just said, actually, you know, I'm just looking for what you need. Every log's a little bit different, and rather than kind of looking at how we're going to mill each log, if you just let me know what you need, then as I'm going along, I'll be able to work each log in to meet that cut list that you need. And he mentioned that it was his engineer mind that was thinking that he needed to kind of draw out how to mill the logs. And the funny thing is that kind of clued me in, because the customer I thought I was going to go milling for is actually a doctor. And I thought, doctor, engineer? And before I really caught on to what was happening, the first customer had mentioned on a comment on one of my videos that he was excited to get going that weekend. And I had posted a reply about North Idaho, and he hadn't quite caught that. And to make a long story short, getting up close to the weekend that I was supposed to take off and go milling, I kept thinking that I had two jobs, that I was going to do an extended run. Then I realized that I had double booked the weekend. Now that's a terrible situation to be in, and I will tell you that if I didn't have such great customers, and I do, all my customers are awesome. I appreciate every one of them. Honestly, they're just great folks and great to work with, and I really lucked out in this case. What happened was I realized what I had done. I had really double booked the customers. So I reached out to both of them, and fortunately for me, while the first customer had a pretty hard, fast kind of stop due to what he does in his day job life, I really need to be able to get him in that Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday if necessary. The second customer was very flexible. He was building his house, retired, wasn't really that important what day I arrived on, and so I was able to clean up the mess and come up and mill for both customers. But I have to tell you, there's a lesson in that, and I suppose, while I'm milling these logs up and making some 1-inch flooring for this customer in Spokane, I should tell you that I use my email program to schedule jobs, and the lesson that I would say here is just to make sure that when you're doing that, you put the customer's name down and address. What I would often do in the past was I would just put tentative milling Spokane, milling tentatively in Clay Island or whatever, knowing that 2 or 3 months is going to go by and we might need to make some changes. The change that I made in how I do that today is instead I'll put in milling North Spokane for Bob Jones and then tentative. That way at least I can remember who it is that I'm milling for. So I guess really to bring this to a conclusion, I will tell you that when you are a remote sawyer like I am, you always travel to the customer. It's really important not only to communicate with the customer what you can do and the kind of things they can do to prep for the job, but also to make sure that when you've got lots of customers like I do, you make sure that you put down in your calendar which customer and what location you expect to be milling for on that particular day, week, or weekend, so that you don't end up crossing up two customers. Of course, again, in this case, I got lucky. These guys are great. They always are. All my customers have been fantastic. No complaints ever. They're just wonderful people. And I really lucked out in this case. Not only was I milling for some great people in a beautiful location, but thankfully they were flexible enough that I was able to kind of fit them in and take the old Jarhead Sawdust Roadshow on the road for I guess about 5 days and get both of them done back to back, and so that was really awesome. So thank you to my customers, Dave and Gary. I really appreciate the business and I appreciate the flexibility. As always, folks, if you enjoy these videos, you think they have some value, do me a favor. I'd really love it if you'd hit that like button for me. And don't forget to subscribe for more. There'll be more videos coming out shortly. Thanks again for watching. The Old Jarhead out.